Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm playing a 4v4 match on the map Red Alert. I'm starting in the bottom left position, playing as the Allies. So for those of you who don't know this map, there's like two islands, and you can see on our island all the players are close together. And it's the same on the top right island. And what there is there's two sides of the map, and you can see my infantry there going up a little path. There's lots of interconnected islands. These islands connect to the top and the bottom of the map, so you can get there like just on foot. You don't have to build naval units, although quite a lot of players do, because naval control can give you a big advantage. There's also a couple of islands, one to the very far left of the map and one to the far right of the map, which isn't connected by land, and those are quite useful to get because they have a lot of resources, a lot of gems and a lot of ore. And now what I'm doing is I'm starting to get my infantry in the middle island, and you can see that middle island does have some gems, so it is a very valuable island to take control of, but there will be the other team on the other side. And there we can see Orange taking some infantry further down the map, and I've got some infantry at the top, and what I'm going to try and do if I can is destroy that building. And those Orange infantry trying to find a way through, so I'm just going to have my infantry here, and it looks like a bit of a massacre there. Those infantry all going down, and I don't think I lost anything because all those infantry were just running, so that's a real big bonus for me at this point. He has managed to stop me destroying that building, which is what they'll want, of course, because what they'll be doing is probably taking an engineer to capture that building and take control of the middle. So that's a bit of an unfortunate twist. I'm going to go around here and see if I can actually still destroy it. I might be able to do that. So I've got through those infantry. I'm going to go right to the top now and just try and destroy that building. It looks like I'm going to be on it, and that building does go down. And no doubt, I think the other team would have had an engineer en route to capture that building, so that's going to obviously delay their startup. The bottom building on my side of the island, though, I think is a little bit harder to capture, because if you like destroy it to like red HP, then what happens is it sells. I think you can capture it if you get more engineers, but then that's quite a big investment, and we do need to be careful now because we can see Orange has a light tank out on the field, so that's going to cause some problems possibly. And I'm just building my second war factory. You can see I've also built a service depot, and that's just so I can build an MCV later, because I'm definitely going to want to do that, because I'm going to want to expand to the other islands. But right now I'm just building some medium tanks, and you can see Purple's got a couple of light tanks there as well. And now those pink infantry, I think they're going to go forwards, but now they've pulled back a little bit. And now the infantry are going forwards with the light tanks. I'm going to get a bit of a squash here and try and take out some of those light tanks. And let's see if we can take out some of those infantry in the process. We managed to do that, but I'm going to need to pull back because Pink has some heavy tanks coming in, and the army does seem to be quite large, so I'll need to be careful there. I've now got two war factories down, so I'm going to have the faster building speed of tanks, but that Pink army is starting to come forwards. And I'm just going to need to hold back a little bit here. I don't want to push in too far and lose all my units. I'm just getting a large power plant down there. And it's just finding a window where I can build that extra MCV. So now the battle's going on with Pink. It looks like Pink has got the slightly better tank numbers at the moment. Orange has also got some tanks there. And Purple, we're going to need some help here. So I'm trying to bring my tanks back so I can fight with Purple. So we can... because I don't want to fight them alone, but now the Purple's moving in, unfortunately a bit too late, and now we're fighting those Pink heavy tanks, but the window's given me a bit of time just to get my tank numbers up a little bit, but the fight's still going on. We've got Orange with light tanks in there, and we've got Pink with heavy tanks. And those other tanks now going down. The heavy tanks look like they're almost destroyed, and it's only a couple of light orange tanks left. It looks like Purple's invested in a helicopter, which I probably wouldn't do at this stage. I'd just go for pure tanks because that's going to be what I need to stop Pink and Orange getting into our bases. At least now my tank numbers are starting to build up a little bit, and Purple's coming in with some light tanks as well. So now we can take this fight against Pink and Orange. Though you can see those heavy tanks in quite decent numbers. There's 4 of them there, so I'm just going to try and focus these tanks down. And you can see now purple going to further into the base. So I'll just fight these tanks so they're not there when we go further in. And that orange tank getting quite close to my own base itself. I'm just going to try and get that destroyed. I don't want it like sitting in an ore refinery or something like that. And now you can see that orange is pulling back, and I think that's because purple's pulling further into their base. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this opportunity where I've got a few more tanks. I've built up my forces a little bit in order to build an MCV. Because now I've got enough tanks. I think the enemy has lost quite a few tanks as well, and they're having to pull back to fight purple. So this is just going to give me a bit of an opportunity to build up my forces and get on that next island. But now purple is pulling back, and we can see also orange and pink coming down. So I'm going to see if purple wants to fight here, so we could just sort of like take control a little bit of the middle island. And now we've got full map vision because satellite has been used by one of the other players. So someone's built a tech center quite early on, and now we can see exactly what's going on right across the map. I can see green's got an outer base actually on one of the middle island on the other side of the map, because it's important, like obviously both sides. One side is lost and the game is lost. Now orange is coming in with a large light tank army, and it looks like pink is following on behind, and this is a bit of trouble for ourselves because we can't take those 2 armies out together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tanks and sort of like bunch them up in the bottleneck. Just having a little bit of a fight there, but I'm going to have to pull to the other side of that bottleneck and just like defend from there. And now I'm getting that MCV deployed, and just going to be getting another ore refinery and getting another second ore refinery as well, because I'm going to want to get a good economy going so I can build lots of units, because you can see my economy isn't all that strong at the moment. And now those light tanks trying to come through that gap. And also they've got some naval units, so that's a destroyer there, and those naval units can wreak a bit of havoc, especially when it comes to these small gaps where you're trying to defend, and we're going to possibly have to pull back a little bit here. So just try to take out some of those light tanks as we retreat a little bit. And I'm just having to think now, do I need to delete that ore refinery that I'm building? No, I'm going to have a chance to build it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some base defences just to help a little bit with defending here. We've got some purple tanks as well helping us, and you can see those those heavy pink tanks just sitting at the bottleneck. But I am building some pillboxes, which will do a little bit of damage actually to light tanks, because light tanks are very weak. We're also going to build some turrets on top of that, because we are going to need some extra defences with all these naval units from orange around the area. And I'm going to build a naval centre myself, just so I can try and get some destroyers out. And yet again, no, my tank numbers are starting to build up a little bit, so I should hopefully be able to defend against the light tanks just trickling in. I've decided to build the naval yard at the other side of my base, because what I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of getting to that outer island, because the naval units are all in the centre of the map, and that means the outer part of the map, and I can see that from a radar dome is currently there's nothing there stopping me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the outer island with one of my MCVs, so even if I lose this outer base on the first island, I can still get to the outer island. And it also looks like the other team are sort of starting to take control of the middle, so we are going to need that improved economy. And you can just see from that island there are a lot of gems, and I just have to be a bit careful here because my ore trucks are sort of getting in like range of those naval units. But now the naval units are at the bottom, I'm going to see if I can get a sneaky tank attack against these pink tanks without them realising. And those pink tanks now are on the retreat. He could have actually taken that fight though, because I didn't have that many units, but he's decided to pull back. He's also got a base in the middle of the map, so pink is sort of playing in the long game. He's trying to get his economy going. And also I've got orange here with some destroyers, but now we're going to go for the attack on the destroyers with our medium tanks, and to see if we can catch him sleeping a bit. And it looks like one of those destroyers is going to go down, and let's see if we can get another one down. It does look like it's going quite well for us at the moment, but now he's realised and he's pulling the last 2 destroyers back a little bit. I'm going to now get this MCV out, and I've got control of this outer island. So getting that deployed there, I'm going to get a ore refinery up, and I'm going to go back to the battle here. So let's see if we can fight this fight here. I'm going to get a naval yard out now, because we'll be, like, obviously got gems on the middle of that map. And now I'm going to be producing some destroyers. I'm having a look at that path to the middle part of the map, because what I really want to do is I want to get pink off that middle, because they will be mining gems there as well, because that middle island is quite rich in economy. But for now, I think what I need to do is I need to focus on these destroyers and take out the naval units for Orange. You can see Orange has built a couple more naval units. He's built a couple of more destroyers just to replace those units he lost earlier in the game. I'm trying to sort of use my tanks as well, just to get a few shots on them as well, and just take down their numbers. And now Orange is reduced to only having 2 destroyers, but now Pink is on the attack, and that army is quite large, so I'm going to need all my medium tanks there to try and defend against this. He's got 1 ore refinery down, and it looks like the other ore refinery could go down quite easily, unfortunately. But we're just going to have to try and take out those tank numbers. Although the only good thing is because he's taken out buildings, his tank numbers are going to be falling, and that means he's going to have less tanks, and we're going to have the tank advantage. And now what I'm going to need to try and do is I'm going to try and counter. The problem is that Orange at this time is destroying my naval yard, so I'm not going to be able to build any more destroyers on this side. And now the fight is on. You can see the Pink. I've got a few more tanks than Pink. Unfortunately, Pink has destroyed the structures on the first island, though. Some that base is gone, and the resources on the first island are running out, and it's exactly the same scenario at the top of the map though as well. You can see the starting islands now are very bare, so it's really important that we try and keep control of the middle islands now, because that's where you're getting the resources. We've also got the outer island as well, which to get resources from, but those destroyers now just sitting at that gap, and I'll just try and destroy them because they're going to be trying to take out my ore trucks. But as soon as I start attacking them, you can see those Orange destroyers starting to move back a little bit. I've got another ore refinery building for the outer island, and absolutely unbelievable. It appears the ore trucks are on strike today. That first ore refinery building without a ore truck. And that's why I'm so broke. I'm like sat here thinking, why isn't my economy doing well? And there wasn't an ore truck mining gems on the outer island as I thought there would be. And now I'm trying to take care of those destroyers. Again, they're just getting some hits on the ore trucks. I'm not too bothered about the ore trucks though in this starting island, because I may as well have them mine some more even if I'm going to lose some, because they're not really going to be of much use. Unless I take them to the outer island, I guess, but that's going to take a lot of micro, and I don't have time for that right now, because you can see Pink there with his heavy tanks, just having to try and take them out, and I'm getting quite far into the base, so I'm going to try and get a bit further into the middle here. We've taken out quite a few of those heavy tanks. There's only 3 of them left. I've got the better tank numbers, and it's just a case of trying to just survive here, move around as much as possible. Now Pink getting some reinforcements in. The tank numbers are even, and that's a little bit of a problem because I'm losing medium tanks, and medium tanks are slightly less powerful than those heavy tanks. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get yet another ore refinery. This time, these last 2 ore refineries have actually produced ore trucks, which is something I really need at this moment in time on that outer island. And that transport ship looks like it's going to go down. But just managing to survive. I've also seen that there's some Tesla in the middle of the map. And what I'm also noticing about the middle of the map is that it's starting to run out of resources. And I've got a lot of resources on that outer island. So getting yet another ore refinery, and what I'm just going to do is sell that ore refinery, get another one placed down there, so the ore trucks keep on working. And now we've got 3 ore trucks on that outer island, but we can see that Orange with those light tanks is coming in, and also he's got those naval units in the back there, and I'm going to need to pull back to my base, just destroying one of those naval units in the process. Orange with those light tanks. On the radar dome though, I can see the top of the map is quite barren. There's absolutely no resources there, so all the resources for both teams now lie in the middle islands or the outer islands. And on my mini-map I can see that Eric has got the right island furthest to the right. So now I'm going to take my tank forces back to closer to my base, and we could just see there the ore trucks are starting to collect some resources. I'm going to actually need some more war factories because for one time in the game, I've actually got quite a few resources in the bank, but those light tanks are pushing forwards. We're going to have to try and just take them out. And yeah, those light tanks, so they seem to be going down. He has got those annoying destroyers behind, but those light tanks are going to be defeated. But now a second wave of pink heavy tanks is starting to come through. And we just defended for all we're worth here, and I'm just going to have to pull back a little bit. Those light tanks getting the kill, and now they're going for some of those ore trucks, which I'm not too bothered about because, as I say, those ore trucks are pretty much useless now because there's no more resources on this part of the map. And now I'm just going to pull back a little bit. Those light tanks continuing to push in, and the heavy tanks coming as well. It's 2-on-1 here though, and they're starting to be able to push us a bit further back. And I'm probably going to need to fall back to my base, and I'm starting to realise that those heavy tank numbers are quite large, and I'm going to have to pull back to my base. Here we've got some destroyers as well, trying to provide a bit of destruction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and build some destroyers of my own. But here I'm getting pushed back to my base, and this is really, really bad. I just need to try and keep the medium tanks out of range of those destroyers as the heavy tanks are coming into my base, along with orange, with all those light tanks. And this is looking really bad now. I'm going to try and build some turrets for defence. The problem is the large tank armies from both pink and orange, and now I'm really getting pushed back, and it looks like some of those medium tanks are going down. I'm building as fast as I can, and you can see the economy is starting to drop a little bit now because the gems are being used up. I got a small boost of them once when I was initially starting, but now I'm just building turrets and tanks. But we have to see, is it enough, and do the other teams have any defences further back in the base? The thing is, if I can defend this, you can see that the top of the map is completely barren. There's absolutely no ore left, I don't think. There might be a tiny bit maybe in those shaded region on the first island, but it's just a case of, can I defend against this attack? But it's not looking good. The pink tanks are one side of my base, the orange light tanks are the other side of my base, destroying that turret. And I'm just trying to fight one army at a time now. I've only got 5 tanks left. It looks like though pink is probably going for my war factories, so my war factories are now going to be down. And just try and destroy those light tanks. You can see my economy is all used up as well now, because as the trucks transition from gems to ore's a lot less valuable. And now those pink tanks is in purple's base, destroying some of those units. And yeah, I've got actually no production buildings left. I'm trying to build a war factory, but it's going to be quite slow, for this time of the game. And just I should have probably taken a barracks actually, but those pink tanks now taking out more units. And we've got some purple infantry in there, but it's going to be no match against the tanks coming in, because we've got more reinforcements coming in for pink, and we've got a few reinforcements coming in for orange as well. And it looks like my base is well and truly done. And now what we can see is naval units on the outer side of the map, going for those units that I have on the outer island. And it looks like, unfortunately, the game is going to be over for me, because my base has been completely destroyed on the starting islands. You can see them pulling back a little bit. I'm just having a look at how my teammates are doing. Eric is on that outer island as I am here, but you can just see that that being pulverised, and now I've lost that ore refinery, and it's well and truly over, because what I was going to try and do was going to try and build some, I've just out of that top island now, and that construction yard was about to go down, and we could see, unfortunately, a similar thing happening on the right side of the map. It was a lot closer than it looked on our side of the map. It was just that last attack. The key thing was I had the resources, because I had the outer island. All the other resources on the map, you could just see there's no ore at all. And if I'd been able to defend that last attack, the other team were out of resources, I had the outer island, so then I would have been able to go on the attack myself and build up my tank forces and take over and control of the left side of the map, and they wouldn't have been able to produce any tanks. I think in the end though, even if that had happened, even if I'd been able to defend against that, we still would have got attacked by red and probably defeated in the end. But it's one of those times actually where our team had control of both the outer islands, and we still lost the game. You can see Eric there with a sneaky MCV move on the starting island, but this time it's not going to work. Green were able to take out the economy on that outer island, and this map match is now well and truly good game. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the video.